today's video, we are going to take a look at common arrangement structures so you have a vision of the end product before you arrange your tracks. Before we start with today's video, if you haven't seen my previous 3 arrangement videos, I strongly suggest that you take a look at them because I have a lot of terms that I will use during this video. All of those are explained actually in this previous 3 videos. So, ready? Let's go. Extremely important when you arrange your track. This is my template that I use in my tracks. The main idea is the playground where you create your loop, and then you have macro and micro arrangement channels. The macro part, we basically differentiate different parts of the track, like a melody in the verse, the chorus and groove. It's very visual when you are building your track, and you can use these locators to jump between different parts of your track. And the second part is micro arrangement channel, because I always forget what I wanted to do in the different parts of the track. Just come here, okay, use the centric here, automate the lead here, or maybe low pass drums here. Very handy to make those smooth transitions or the smooth changes in your track. There's one final trick. So if you right click this and if you go to edit info text, Ableton has kind of a secret notepad. You can just take a note. If you don't have this one, you have a small triangle here. Click that one and then you have the info view. Now you can actually write whatever you want. For shakers in, background art in. Sometimes you have the idea but you don't have the time, or you want to do something else like a checklist for yourself to clean it up. I will make this template available for everybody. Put a download link below so you can just go there and download it and change it the way you like it as well. We will start with the most common arrangement structure. It goes by first a chorus and a break after, and then another chorus. This is the simplest and the most common arrangement structure, and you will see this structure from the peak time techno track and the most pop music in the world. The reason why it works so nicely is because it really focuses on the contrast in the track. If you have, for example, a very good chorus and then a really smooth break, people will really like the chorus and then go into that break where they miss the chorus again and they get the chorus back, and hence they will really feel the fulfillment with the track. This is the simplest version of it. If you go one level deeper, call it like a macro arrangement, it is like intro, verse, chorus, break, verse, chorus, outro. The first thing is these two can replace the position oftentimes. For example, EDM tracks often likes to go into the chorus right after break. Techno tracks, they will prefer go into the verse and then go into the chorus instead. The verse you can think as a simplified version of the chorus. You won't have all the really heavy synth leads there. Verse's job is just to prepare you for the chorus and what is about to come. And of course you will often have an intro and outro. But of course we will go one more level deeper. This is the level 3. You will both have macro arrangements where you see this big structure, and then you will see the micro arrangement where actually all these big pieces have small pieces to make everything a bit more interesting. If you go to break, it won't just be like a quiet part, but inside it will be like a break, verse, break structure or something. And this is the part where, for example, techno tracks really differentiate from a pop music. Now let's take a real world example and break it down. Example is coming from UMax called Dark Market. The structure is very obvious. If you take a closer look, it's basically verse, chorus, break and verse, chorus. Verse sounds like this. A bit of bass, a bit of drums, preparing us to the chorus. Extra percussions, that synth is coming in, really increasing the energy, and then we go into the break. Techno tracks likes to go to verse after the break. And then the similar way we introduce all these extra things here. This is super simple, right? But it is not as simple as this looks. When we look at one level deeper, it actually looks something like this. You have this DJ intro, but then we have the groove in it. It's different energy levels of intro. Kick and bass, headsy. And then we have the groove in here. We are getting richer. But into the verse, we have first a heat off, cool down a little bit. Slowly introducing the synths. Our verse is kind of buried, more like a bridge, like introducing some of the elements from chorus. And then we have this huge break, and the break itself has different parts in it. First we cool down the track. This is the really real break part, really cool and low noise. Very peak time techno thing, you want to introduce a drama in your break so that people can get a bit hypnotized here. Again, we increase the energy levels before the verse again, which drops down back the energy levels. Slowly building up, and then we jump into the verse. And of course, chorus comes, but this time it's longer. And then cool down again. DJ outro. Once you actually dissect the track like this, it's extremely easy to use as a reference for your own track, but it is not whole picture yet. Here comes the micro arrangement part. I like to keep the micro arrangement over macro arrangement because I like this one first, and then I want to see my notes. If you zoom in here, you will see, okay, here the filter trick that Umek did. Here, maybe bring in the ambient grooves. Anything that you feel like added value, right? Just use mercurial tones, analog techno horns. That would work really well here, right? And this micro arrangement part really fills the whole track. Adding these notes really help you to remember what you want to do so that your track doesn't just feel like same thing over and over again. You don't need to use actually chorus break, chorus model to make great electronic music track. One of the greatest electronic music album utilize mostly verse, bridge, verse model, and so it is completely opposite of what we've seen before. In the level 2 version, we will say as usual intro and outro, but we will see a lot of different verses, verse 1, verse 2, verse 3. In this verse, bridge, verse model, you will see that actually the energy levels will stay more or less same, but the ingredient of each verse will be slightly different. What is the difference between bridge and the break then? The main purpose of the break is actually emphasize the next section coming in your track. Snare rolls, filter sweeps, but bridges acts more like a connection between different parts of the track. It doesn't really need to include any energy builds up. One level deeper, you will also see that we have these like verses, and each verse may have also slightly differences in itself, so there will be a lot of ingredient change in our different verses. Alright, we are taking a look at a track from Burial. The track opens up with the classic Burial intro, right? Some random noises, a little bit ambience, and then we have a short groove in. Then comes the straight ahead first verse. Introduce a vocal, a deep reese bass, synth pads to give real ambience. So verse 2, chord progression, different chord progression, more or less the similar elements, and additional of the female vocal. The verse 3. So we take off the vocals so that we can miss them, and of course a little bit pianos and a bit more ambience, a bit dust scratches and so on. So energy levels are slightly less but still quite similar. And then what happens that Burial goes back to verse 1 and again verse 2, and then comes the bridge just to create variation in the track. So we take off the drums so that we can miss them again, back again to the groove in where the drums come back. Now we will go back to the same energy levels with the new verse, verse 4. And then we go back to verse 2 here. And small bridge. Verse 3 again. And then finally, I feel inside. You see that the energy levels, more or less we keep almost energy levels the same, just add the variation so that people don't get really bored of the track all the time. Micro arrangement and see what actually we have is like a pad additions, like pad stops. Here we have ambient hits. Here we added the scratches, creating these local variations in the verses as well, which makes it really pleasant experience to listen to. And the third one is completely opposite of the previous one. It's what I like to call pure everything. So it's pre-verse, verse, pre-chorus, chorus. See the increase of the energy levels whole track. It really creates this really epic feel. Level 2, very strong structure, like an intro, pre-verse, verse, break, chorus. By the way, this break in this example doesn't need to be really break, it could be also bridge. The reason that chorus really comes in late in the track, you want people to go to like euphoric moment and feel like they are in a journey. One level deeper and take the level 3, you will see a very linear build up even inside the sections. Yellow here, right? And then the darker yellow. Pre-chorus is orange and darker orange. So even inside the section, you will see the linear increase in the energy levels, make the track work in the dance floor. Very typical example of this this type of structures like deadmau5 or Eric Prytz, and example is actually from Eric Prytz. Immediately, like in the first look at of the waveform, you see it right ahead. There's like energy goes up, tops right here, and then goes back. This structure actually used a lot by the beginners. You just keep adding elements to, but when you do this type of arrangement structure, it's very easily overdo it, and track may turn into mush when you come like in the middle part of the track. The main trick Eric Prytz does keep increasing the BPM to give this energy level increase. Another really simple trick, right? And then we have bass in. We add a little bit more strings here. Here around we hit the pre-verse. Automating the filter, right? Yes, more open, more bright, and then we hit the verse. You will see a lot of snare rolls. Feels like things going up. Funny thing is, like, we hit the pre-chorus, you would feel like we are on the top of the track, but it is not really. Because it is a pre-chorus, we have some local crashes and so on. Then we get into a small bridge here. If we go to the chorus right after the pre-chorus, it may not hit enough, but if you have a small bridge like this, introduce that new synth sound, and then we hit the chorus. And now it paid off. In the dance floor, they wait and dance and get crazy, and finally the chorus hits. It is the euphoria for everybody who are listening to or dancing the track, right? And then classic thing. Drop the energy, and then outro. This is a very classic example. If you want to see more structure models, let me know on the comment section. If I see that other people are interested more in models, I can make more videos. But other than that, if you like, for example, Burial, I have another Burial tutorial here where I actually dissect one of his drums if you're interested in that genre.